Yeah, we expect he got through the skate. We expect him to be a player for us. We always would say we'll get him through warm up and see, but he's healed past that. We expect him to play tonight.
Where does he impact the game the most in your mind?
Well, all parts of it. Maybe I would. I'm not. It was a good question. I'm just going to rephrase it. What am I looking for? Is what I'm hoping for is just a simplicity to it because. So he's played. I mean, he's had an incredible career. He's a Stanley Cup champion, 1,000 games, 1,000 penalty minutes, lots of points. I don't want to see all of it in one game, right? And that's what sometimes Mikey Samoskevich and Sam Bennett, and they're going to show each other their hands, because maybe that would be the thing, Katie, that in practice, you know how tenacious this guy, how physical he is, how hard he plays. But you get him in practice, then oh my God, he's got hands on him. And you start to realize how good the skill level is there. Just hoping that the three of them, and it's human nature, don't try to show it to each other in the first 5 minutes, right? All the dangle comes out, and then you're chasing pucks all over the ice. So a little simplicity tonight, and then it'll be fun running the bench. It's a different player in your lineup, and you get to start discovering things. That you start thinking about things that could work if you wanted to change things.
It's always a really tough trip for teams to come down, go to Tampa, then right to you guys.
Doesn't happen very often.
Do you notice anything about that matchup, though, when it does happen, just when teams... You're either going the other way when they have to kind of fade.
Yeah, it usually goes the other. It usually flows the other way. No, I think this one's specific to the situation that Utah's in. They have a good structured game. They've got a good structured team, and two very skilled lines. They've got a good physical line. They're fast. Their back end can move the puck, and they're in that playoff push. So they've played exceptionally well. Beat Tampa at home. And then they come in, and they're actually, for me, right in that start of that game. It got away from them. And, well, we got beat 8-1 in Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final because the game gets away from you, and you put so much energy into that game. There's a breaking point where we're going, okay, it's 2 points. We're moving on to the next game. So I think they come out at least as good as they did. I think they'll have lots of energy because it wasn't one of those tight games where they're spending it on every shift. Both teams kind of shifted into a up and down, or nobody gets hit halfway through a game, and that's what happens in all of those games when one team is got such a huge gap in the scoring. I expect them to be very good. They are structured. They do skate well. They're dynamic. Their leading scorer has more points than our leading scorer, so they're capable, very capable team. And what they'll be able to do is hit that reset button in the regular season. If you're way out of it or you're way on top of it, you'll lose one. Sometimes the emotions bleed into the next game. But when you're in that playoff push, you just cut that thing right off because you do it in playoff series. You lose a game, game one against Boston last year, we get pounded. Cut that thing right off and you go play the next one. So that's what we'll get out of these guys tonight.
You know, we talked a lot about Kevin Stedman as a player, what he meant to you guys, but just with all the welcome back videos you've already seen this year, just what have those moments meant to you, just seeing that in the middle of the game throughout the year?
There's a connection there. You don't see each other. You cross paths. Everybody's real busy. As a coach, you don't really get to cross with the players in the hallway like the other players get to do on your team. So you get this little connection. It'll be something between whistles on the ice, just a nod and a smile. And it's a great little reminder of, I mean, our best hockey memory is that. So I love seeing those guys. I like what they do in the Jumbotron, and because the last picture is going to be that player holding the Stanley Cup over his head. It's going to put a smile on your face.
Looking at what kind of pop Brad Marchand's going to bring you guys tonight. Because he hasn't played in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know what his game's going to look like tonight, except he's 36, so we have a really strong idea what his game looks like. Whether it's tonight, I mean, it's coming. But what happens is everybody's going to watch everything that he does. Fans too, but the players on the bench too, right? And they're going to be. You see it in practice. When Brad would do something with the puck or score a goal, everybody on the ice saw it. Barkey does it. There's three guys talking down here. There's no focus. So the focus goes on the player, and as the coach, you're kind of going, I got to get the focus back on the game here. But everybody be watching everything he does.
You talked about you don't expect. He's experienced. He's going to fit right in with you guys. But had the 2 weeks practicing maybe helped him a little bit just because of the situation, the captain of the Boston Bruins coming to Florida, that whole thing, does that
Yeah.
maybe help things out.
I'm sure for him, he would have preferred trade happened, he played the next day, got it over with, and then he's off and running. We've had our new players in all of our pregame meetings, whether they played or not. So they got the experience, they saw the video, our pre-scout video, went through the kind of coach's idea of the game, what we're trying to do, what we're accomplishing. So he does get a bit of a runway here. He knows your season changes, so you're working on themes. This is what we're working on right now. So he knows what we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks because he's been in all the meetings, and that should help him in terms of just how his reads, where they're at.
And looking at the rest of the schedule going forward, I mean, you guys only play about one or two teams that are really out of it right now.
Right.
I mean, how does a game like this kind of prep you for some of those important games, like the 2 against Montreal coming up?
Yeah, they're very consistent. I felt that it's been like that for a while. We hit a lot of teams that have been fighting for their playoff lives. It brings an intensity to the game that you don't get. They're not easier to play, but they're better to play, for sure. Because if you catch a team who's got skill that's clearly out of it, those games are easier to play, but they don't really look like anything you're going to see 2 weeks later. They need this one tonight. Like these two, having lost the last game, there's so much focus on Utah for this game tonight. It would be absolutely both games against Montreal, right? They're right on that edge, and then we'll get the Rangers as well. We'll get Ottawa as well, Detroit. So all of them are going to be hyper focused. They'll have the advantage of an easy source of energy. They'll be jacked for these games, and they're not going to have to worry about whether it's there or not. Are they fired up for the game? It's there. But they're going to do the right hard things. They're not going to throw a puck rink wide through 5 sticks and be casual about their back check if it doesn't go. They're going to play the game the right way, which is great training ground for us. We still have work to do. 89 doesn't get you in, but we feel confident in where our game's at, that we're prepping for the playoffs.